In the early years of the 20th century, Abdu'l-Bahá, the eldest son of Baha'u'llah, was the leading exponent of the Baha'i faith. Renowned as a promoter of universal peace, unity, and a champion of social justice, he is considered by Baha'is to be the perfect exemplar and embodiment of Baha'u'llah's teachings. He was exiled with his family from their homeland Iran to Iraq and later to Turkey. During his stay in Edirne, Turkey, a number of photographs were taken of Abdu'l-Bahá, his brother Mehdi, as well as other family members and followers of Baha'u'llah. Abdu'l-Bahā's family was exiled from Turkey to their final destination, the prison city of Akka, where they arrived in August of 1868. The first known photograph of Abdu'l-Bahá was taken in Adrianople in 1868. The next known photograph was taken in Paris 43 years later. After his arrival in Akka, Abdu'l-Bahá would remain in confinement for more than 4 decades. In 1908, turmoil in the Ottoman capital culminated in the Young Turk Revolution. The Sultan of Turkey released all of the empire's religious and political prisoners. After 43 years of imprisonment, Abdu'l-Bahá was finally free. Abdu'l-Bahá made his first voyage to the West in 1911 to the French resort of Thonon-les-Bains before he traveled onward to England. On September 10, 1911, from the pulpit of the City Temple Church in London, he gave a public address for the first time in his life. In the spring of 1912, Abdu'l-Bahá journeyed to the United States and Canada. For 9 months, he traveled from coast to coast, addressing every kind of audience, meeting people of all ranks and stations. One of the most significant events of Abdu'l-Bahā's journey to the West was the laying of the cornerstone for the Mother Temple of North America in Wilmette on May 1st, 1912. During his journeys, Abdu'l-Bahá unceasingly called for peace and condemned war, and warned of its coming. Because of his many talks about peace, some newspapers nicknamed him the Apostle of Peace. At the end of 1912, Abdu'l-Bahá crossed the Atlantic back to England once more. He then went to Scotland and also France. In March, Abdu'l-Bahá departed from Paris towards Germany. He visited Stuttgart and Esslingen for 8 days. From Germany, Abdu'l-Bahá traveled to Hungary and Austria. He then returned to Egypt and eventually back to the Holy Land. Abdu'l-Bahá finally returned home on December 5th, 1913, after a 3-year absence. He spent the next few weeks with his family around the shrine of the Bab and Baha'u'llah. This undated photograph shows some members of the Holy Family, pilgrims, and members of the local Baha'i community. In the middle row, seated from left to right, Monawar Khanum, Abdu'l-Bahá and Munireh Khanum's 4th daughter, Tuba Khanum, their 2nd daughter, Mahia Khanum, Abdu'l-Bahā's sister, known as the greatest holy leaf, Munireh Khanum, his wife of 50 years, Diaya Khanum, their eldest daughter and the mother of Shoghi Effendi, and Ruha Khanum, their 3rd daughter. This photograph shows Abdu'l-Bahá in Tiberias in June of 1914. He's sitting on a balcony overlooking the Sea of Galilee. In 1920, the British government conferred upon Abdu'l-Bahá the honor of knighthood for his efforts in saving many from starvation during the war. Abdu'l-Bahā's grandson, Shoghi Effendi, acted for him as his secretary. He was constantly at his side, following every instruction from 1918 to 1920. This photograph shows Abdu'l-Bahá carrying the coffin of Mirza Abdul Hassan Afnan, who had thrown himself into the sea when he sensed that Abdu'l-Bahā's earthly life was coming to an end. Though unwell, Abdu'l-Bahá insisted on acting as pallbearer. In this photograph, Abdu'l-Bahá is shown entering the pilgrim house in Haifa to dine with the friends there. It is the last photograph ever taken of him. The bedroom in which Abdu'l-Bahá passed away in the early morning hours of November 28th, 1921. The British High Commissioner wrote, "The funeral of Abdu'l-Bahá was a funeral the like of which Palestine had never seen, drawing no less than 10,000 people, representing every class, religion, and race in that country, a great throng that gathered together, sorrowing for his death, but rejoicing also for his life." Upon his passing, Abdu'l-Bahá was laid to rest in the shrine of the Bab on Mount Carmel. Currently, a shrine of his own is rising in the vicinity of the Rezvan Gardens. The design structure reflects Abdu'l-Bahā's unique position as the center of the covenant of Baha'u'llah, to honor his lofty station as well as his humility, and strives to create a space of sacredness to which pilgrims and visitors will be drawn for prayer and meditation.